Hello and welcome everyone to Riding with the Marks.
I'm Shane.
I'm Matt. Oh yeah, I skipped that whole thing, huh?
Yeah, that's all right. Here we are.
Yep, and we got a special guest in the back seat, in her booster seat. Say hi, Erin.
Hi.
There we go.
I'm not 12.
She sounds like it. We did not abduct a child at all. But we just got out of Shazam. I mean, Aquaman. Our theater is retarded, and we posted it on Twitter, but it's there on our Twitter. Check it out. For some reason, they dated today as Shazam's debut.
Yeah, December 21st for some odd reason. And then when we got out of the theater, they fixed it.
Yep.
So
because of our tweet.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got out of Aquaman. This is going to be our non-spoiler ride-along review of the sixth movie in the DC universe.
Oh, nice. But
I had to count.
Yeah, I was going to say, way to keep track, because I did not. So, and Matt, thankfully, helped my carpal tunnel a little bit and got this awesome little stand for his phone, I guess, for our video recorder.
Well, it's for any phone, really.
Yeah.
But we'll see if it holds up. If it all of a sudden dips to the right really fast, it's because it fell out.
You know why, yes. Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. Well, us Americans, the last to see Aquaman. Or, I don't know if we're the last, but we're the last important ones.
Yeah, pretty much. the last final release, I guess some people, like on our YouTube page, said that they'll be seeing it next week. So, yeah, non-spoilers. Go in with some sunglasses. It's bright as hell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's very limited dark scenes in this thing.
Yeah.
They definitely brighten the shit out of it. We'll go with the positives. The visuals, as pretty much a lot of people are saying, unbelievable.
Yeah.
There is some wonky green screen every once in a while, but
very few and far between.
Yeah.
It was done so incredibly well. I'm excited, really, to kind of see some behind the scenes stuff with this movie, because I'm curious. I don't know how they did a lot of the talking, a lot of the people, kind of floating there in the water with their hair all over the place. I thought it was incredibly well done. The action is phenomenal. A lot of the ways that it's shot is phenomenal. Really well done.
I can understand now why I've been seeing some people being a little annoyed with the fact that Aquaman didn't get at least a nomination for best visual effects in for the Oscars. I can see now how this is just such a visual escapade. Our IMAX theater here has really shitty seats, but it's actually making Shane and I contemplate going to see it in IMAX now, for sure, because it looks like it's quite a visual wonderland.
Yeah, it's incredibly well.
And I just blew that red light like a man.
Woo! Here we go. So more, I guess, other positives. Jason Momoa just
killed it.
Fucking fantastic.
Killed it.
If for whatever reason Justice League didn't show him off, or Justice League, I apologize. Yeah, he did an incredibly well job. He did a great job. So yeah, and I thought the cast was selected really well for this. So
yeah, everybody did a pretty top-notch job. But yeah, Jason Momoa and the guy that plays his dad. I'm not familiar with the actor that played his dad. Those moments you get with him and his dad, I thought were some of the best scenes.
Absolutely. The only person, and this is maybe just nitpicking, that I thought was kind of an overactor was Jason Momoa, or I'm sorry, Arthur, as like a teenager. When it was awkward. It was incredible. Like, I thought Arthur as a little kid did better than Arthur as a teenager.
Yeah, the actor playing the teenage Arthur.
It was a little much. But other than that, I mean, pretty solid from everyone. I thought they all worked together incredibly well. So yeah, great cast.
Any positives, Erin?
I really love not Ariel's shoes.
Not Ariel's shoes. Okay.
All right. So, nothing worthy from the back seat.
From the peanut gallery.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's what happens when you abduct a 13-year-old. Anyway, we didn't actually abduct a 13-year-old.
Yes. Please don't report the movie marks.
the cast overall good. Drago, I thought was great.
Right? Yeah.
Redheaded Drago.
It's a little weird at first, but it works. I guess.
It worked. There is, man, this movie is an odd thing to take in.
Yeah.
It is extremely enjoyable. We talked about that. It's fascinating to look at. The action is set so well, and as I told Shane when we were leaving, it's nice to see a movie that has a director's style in it, because it's nice to see the director's vision in the movie.
I'll elaborate a little bit more on this probably in our spoiler review, but I feel like that's one of the positives to the DC universe itself is that no movies are the same. That none of them feel the same. It's not kind of like, okay, here's a cookie cutter formula. They all have their own style, and this one is right up that that same alley. Say what you want about Suicide Squad, but that one's different than Wonder Woman. That's different than Aquaman. That's different than BVS and even Man of Steel. So this fits right into that. And yeah, enjoyable was the word that both Matt and I that came to our head right after we saw this. Nothing crazy deep as far as story wise, but just enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely enjoyable. Hoping that there was a little bit more to this. I can actually see a little bit now what some people were saying about clutter, because I actually felt this moment when, like, in Man of Steel you have first flight, and this you have first swim, and first swim does just not feel as epic as first flight, and it feels very rushed, and it does feel like they were trying to, bounce through certain things kind of fast just to get them done and over with, and I don't know. That is kind of a detriment to this movie. It just seems like it's a glorified fetch quest from a video game.
Yep. Yeah.
For the most part.
Exactly. The common phrase that I've read a lot of people use is action adventure, and I feel that this movie fits right into that. It's an action adventure where the story kind of plays second fiddle to just the action and kind of the score and kind of all the visuals and everything that's going on. The story is just kind of like the background of like, okay, he's got to get to this point and stop this person. So that would be, and I'll elaborate a little bit more when we get into the spoiler one tomorrow with Lantern. But yeah, it's just kind of again enjoyable.
The Mira, played by Amber Heard, she's okay. There's when her and Arthur are having conversations about his potential and what he means to the surface world, to the Atlanteans and everything else. That's a great conversation that they're having. But then there's these awkward moments in between all that where it actually kind of reminds me of this like Family Guy episode that I saw recently where Quagmire's trying to hook up with Lois. And she's walking him to bed, and he's like, oh, and he grabs her by her hand, and she lands perfectly on top of him. Like, there's these moments where, like, they bump into each other, and they just look at each other deeply, and then pause, and it's like, it's these weird moments, and I get it. They're both fucking, Jason Momoa is a big hunk of man meat, and, she's pretty fucking hot, so I guess immediately, we're going to start getting some scissoring action here.
Some scissoring action. Yeah, makes total sense.
But it also did kind of make me like, okay, they keep doing this little trope. That is one of the tropes that I noticed anyway, and it actually caused Aaron and I to look at each other and go, is that correct, honey?
Quite a few times I just cracked up laughing in my seat because of their interactions and then the references that Matt and I could easily come up with. I'm sure that'll come up in the spoiler review.
Yes, for sure.
So the chemistry wasn't as good as you want. It's nowhere near Lois and Clark. It's nowhere near Diana and Steve Trevor. Yeah. It's just not on that ballpark at all.
I enjoyed the chemistry. I thought the situations they were put in, I agree with you. Some of the situations or some of the dialogue that they were given was a little harsh, and it kind of counteracts. There were some great parts where they had great chemistry. We saw a little bit of it in Justice League. Yeah,
and this will go into a spoiler. Justice League doesn't make sense in this movie.
No, No, which I want. We will again talk about. I keep saying it. Talk about it a little bit more in our spoiler-filled review. But yeah, it doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't fit. So that's kind of, I guess that's a positive. That's exciting stuff.
The score. Now, there's a couple points where the score is good. It feels good. There's this particular tune they like using for anybody that's bad. If they have a scowl on their face, how's it go? It was kind of like the same thing, and it was a good one, but it was just used for everybody.
Yeah.
Black Manta, Orm, everybody had this music behind them whenever they were being sinister.
Yeah.
So it was this one choice that was kind of odd, and it was good, but it was just funny they really used it a lot. Then there was these random moments where they threw in these 80s montages or something.
Yeah, kind of.
And they had some
like
montage music.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Eye of the Tiger any moment now.
Yeah. And Matt actually started singing that.
Eye of the Tiger is the thrill of the fight. Anyway, it was odd. It was very odd choices in some of the music. Like they had some good little composer music, but then they threw in these random songs that just did not fit the circumstances.
Like Pitbull's Africa?
Yeah, that was odd.
Well, they were in Africa.
Odd choice.
I guess that's how they determined it. I don't know.
I guess.
It was.
Pitbull?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, that was odd. It was odd choices. So, one of the big things actually for me is in the trailer. And I guess if you haven't seen a lot of the trailers, like I think it was the second to last one, I guess this might be a spoiler to you. So check out. But I'm annoyed they showed the costume.
Yep, I shook my head as soon as, because that would have been such an epic moment, and yet they showed it, and it actually, I didn't like it in the trailers. I'm like, I kind of prefer Snyder's version. It makes sense. I'll just say that it makes sense to this movie. Works a lot
Looks
better.
good too.
Yeah, it does. But again, the fucking WB with their stupid trailers ruining moments that could have been epic, where you're like, oh shit, he's got the costume, you know, that he's got the suit from the comics, like boom, there it is. But we kind of already knew it, so it ruined such an epic moment.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I agree.
Yeah, I was really annoyed they showed that. Jokes wise, I know a lot of people are concerned about the jokes. Is it Marvelized?
Nah.
I don't know if it's Marvelized. I could think of maybe there was like 2 or 3 Marvel jokes like I would expect in a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
I'm not to spoil anyone, but there was one that's it's really stupid. Like they take a picture with Aquaman, and of course
that's true.
The big tough guy, he's got to have a pink phone,
right?
You know?
Yeah.
And so it's overly done. And did you enjoy the humor, Aaron?
It was okay.
Okay.
I didn't enjoy the humor at all. I didn't laugh at most of the parts. Yeah, I was laughing at kind of my own stupid stuff, but but it didn't like weigh down the movie at all. So that's what I mean by I don't feel like it was Marvelized. Yeah, there's some moments where they try to throw some jokes out. I'm like, okay, it was what it was, but I don't think hardly any of them landed for me. Maybe 1 or 2, but they didn't. It wasn't just a crap ton of jokes thrown at you either. So
no, definitely
very, very low percentage.
Definitely not that. I don't know. I laughed at a couple things. Basically, anything Jason Momoa was saying was pretty fucking funny to me for the most part, because his reaction seemed genuine. Because that dude just seems like a genuine guy,
right?
So his reaction seemed very genuine.
I think a lot of his dialogue I was laughing at, and I'm not sure if it was supposed to be funny or not. It's just the way that he was. It like you said, it came off incredibly natural. Like, oh, that's him. You know, and so I was kind of laughing at that stuff, but
all right, definitely worth watching. You definitely got to see this movie in theaters.
Yeah.
IMAX might be preferred. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's IMAX, no 3D. I'm pretty sure.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so. If it's 3D, we may not see it after all, but definitely worth the visual aspects of it all. It's tremendous. It's the visual parts of it. Wow, could not get over that. The story and everything, how it ranks in the DC universe, you know, it's in the middle somewhere. The story, you know, there's some tropes. It gets kind of corny at times, and
it does.
And it
and there's a lot of tropes, which I will talk about in our spoiler review.
which I don't know, you know, it's not like it really tears things down for me completely.
No.
But, I mean, there's just things to appreciate about the movie, too, about how it was shot and the characters themselves and everything. I mean, the talking underwater thing, I thought they did a great job.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to point that out as well. It doesn't feel awkward at all. So, yeah, definitely go see it in theaters, and we'll have our spoiler review with Lantern. We'll be recording it tomorrow when it gets posted, possibly tomorrow, because we're probably just going to do raw and unedited. So
Nice.
That's how
Raw
I like it.
and unedited.
And dry. So in case I don't see you,
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
say goodbye, Aaron.
Bye, but that was a terrible aerial. Can we just be honest?
Okay.
Goodbye, Aaron. That's what you're supposed to say.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. You're one of very few to make it to the end.
Yes, thank you very much.
Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Comic Movie Marks Podcast and hit the notification bell. You know, all these fucking YouTube channels say this shit, so I'm going to say it now.
Yes, it's perfect. And if you want to hear our full podcast, you can check out our podcast on iTunes or any other podcast subscription service.
Make sure you subscribe. Thanks again.